leadership team, we did a performance analysis. And one of the things we talked about is an as-is statement. And I'm going to show you the CCRPI report from last year and also our school improvement plan for this year. What I'm trying to do with these faculty meetings and with the advisory team meetings is focus on academic stuff and the direction that we're trying to go on in the school so that we're all kind of on the same page. Those other times when I come in and we talk about are there any issues or whatever, that's no more than a business meeting. We can do that through email or just conversation, in the hallway. So we're gonna try to do better with getting everybody on the same page, as everybody understanding the direction that we're trying to go on. So as is statement, meaning what it is that, one of the things that us as a group are trying to accomplish, of course, achieve a passing score in CCRPI, and then of course improve our milestones. Then we looked at what factors could either affect this positively or negatively. We looked at the workplace factors, meaning out in the community, what things that happen that affect this, marketplace, I'm sorry. Then we looked at the workplace factor, things that happen inside the building that can either affect this positively or negatively. Then we looked at the work factor, what are we doing as a faculty and staff to improve this? And then workers, what are some of the things that us as individuals, what are some of our feelings as individuals that can affect this positively and negatively? So these are kind of some of the things that we did in the leadership meeting. I'm not going to go through the process with you all. Or is there anything on here that you all want to add? I think we probably hit a lot of it. Then we transitioned over to, okay, why is this happening? We looked at the 5 whys, and then we, why is that factor happening? And then we just talked about whys. We talked about parent and students. We try to pull from this anything that we cannot control. When you do the 5 whys, you just try to look for a deeper understanding of the root cause of an issue, and you try to pull out of these whys things that you cannot control. So we did our 5 whys, which is you talk about what the factor, you talk about why it's happening, and then you talk about, well, why is that happening? Then you talk about, well, why is that happening? And then you finally talk about why is that happening? And once you go through your 5 whys, then you try to look at, what your root cause is. So we'll be doing some of this stuff, some of these things periodically, but the biggest thing is getting us all on the same page as to what direction that we're trying to go in as part of the school. All right, next we're going to go over this is also on the, we record all the sessions, so if you want to look at it a little bit more, we do have it recorded. Okay, we're going to look at last year's CCRPI report real quick. 2 years ago. Last year's CCR report should be coming out in sometime in October. I'll tell you what, let's look at our school improvement plan. Oh, there it is. All right. And basically, y'all know by now, your CCRPI report is basically your school's report card. And I don't care how they try to spin it. Whatever your report says, that's how your school is determined whether you're successful or not. It don't matter how they, it don't matter how they try to, can everybody see that? Can everybody see that okay? All right, real quick, 5.4 overall score. You get that score from these different components, okay? This year's report, and I'll go over it in the next meeting, how this thing is changing. It's changing quite a bit, but I'll go over in the next meeting on how it's changing. The climate, the school climate stars, this is the first time we've ever had 2 stars. Normally we're around 3 and a couple points away from 4.
What is exactly school climate?
This is where we do the student surveys, we do the teacher surveys, we look at our discipline, we look at our number of days like OSS and things of that nature. So it's just basically, this is basically based on what teachers say, based on what students say, and based on your discipline. That's how your stars are accumulated. When I looked at this, what's amazing enough, and we'll go over that one day, is that when you talk about a safe school and things that we do, our students and parents rate higher than our teachers. Yeah. When we do these surveys, our student and parents have a higher rating than we do. And so as a person, when I look at that, I'm gonna break down it even further to see, okay, why are our students and our parents saying that our school is better than our teachers do? Okay, what is it? Do you feel not supported or whatever? But I'm gonna do a breakdown of that and we'll talk about that. Also, we have to look at the discipline. I have to look at, from us, what goes in that is how many students are being suspended and all that kind of stuff. So that plays a factor into that as well. We're working on that now. I don't know what our rate will be when the report come out, but we're working on it now. Then, of course, achievement points. Can you put that for a second? Achievement point. Achievement.
It's not like
right here. The tab, yeah. All right, this is 9th grade lit, how you doing the milestone. This is American lit. This is algebra 1, geometry, and physical science, biology, history, and econ. So that's where these achievement points are gained from, how the students do in the milestones. All right, so that's where those points achieved from. This right now is going to change, but this is like 40% of the score. Okay, so this is where you get most of your points from. And then you look at progress, achievement gaps, and like I said, some of this stuff, like you see in the bar, that stuff, like SLDS clicks and all that kind of stuff, that stuff is going to be going away. But I'll get with you on the changes. All right, let's go to school improvement plan. All right, so this is our school improvement plan. We meet in the summer with the leadership team. We look at it and then we kind of determine what are some of our SMART goals and what are we going to try to do to improve it. And basically, we get our information from several places. And in this, we have to tell what data suggested as to the reason why we made that a SMART goal, okay? For example, SMART goal number 1, students will increase reading inventory lexile scores by 100 points by August to May, talking about the screener, and then down here is why we picked that goal, okay? So you can see in the 2016 milestone indicated there was a need for literacy, 9th grade 21% at or above grade level in Lexile, and in American literature 27% at or above. That's our students. So we got 21% of our kids are at or above their Lexile, and in American Lit, the data shows we only have 27%. So that's the reason why we're writing and we're doing all this extra reading, and then we have Ms. McCall, and we incorporated 6 periods of Read 180. That's all to help this goal right here. Independent reading. Anything we talk about reading, and then on reading days, that's to help that goal right there. All right, then number 2. Oh, these are, I'm sorry, thank you. And these are our strategies of what we're saying that we're going to do to accomplish these goals, okay? Driving reader, the funds are pretty much gone, we spent all that, that is over. And this is what we're saying we're going to improve each year. And I'll send you a copy of this if you want to, I'll send it to the department chair if you want to look at it a little bit deeper. All right. All right, number 2, increase our CCRPI score. Now, we're saying the 270, okay, we accomplished that because our 16-17 score was 75.4, so we've accomplished that, and we're saying this one coming out this month will be at least 74. So what you try to do is you try to do at least 3 or 4 or 5 years out what your predictions and based on what you're doing. So we'll see, you know, these things, they go up and down and they fluctuate. And when you make goals, you want to make goals that's achievable. Once we get this, where we feel like we get achievable, then you take it off and add something else. Graduation rate used to be on there, but now that we're consistently hitting around 89, 90, 91%, then we remove that because we figured out what we need to do or what we're doing is, you know, we don't need to, that doesn't need to be something that's being improved. All right, what data suggested that this should be a goal, okay? And this is the data that we looked at to suggest that should be a goal. We're working on attendance, we're working on electiles, AP, SAT, ACT, we're working on those scores. We offer an SAT, ACT class that I don't think the students are really taking advantage of, but I'm gonna get with my coaches so we can try to encourage students to really take advantage of that. I think, how many kids we got in there right now? We got 4 students. So we want to test them, and we want to publicize how this helped them. And I think once the proof is in the pudding, more students will be signing up for it. All right, next one. 6 or more days. That's some in attendance that's they made an adjustment on, but as you can see, 6 more days will decrease, and you can see the numbers that we're predicting. And what we're doing now to help us with that is every 3 unexcused absences. We're talking about unexcused absences here. Every 3 unexcused absences, we treat it like tardies. They send it to the assistant principals, and we do an engagement. And we talk to the parents about 3 unexcused absences. So we do 3, and then we talk about parents as to why their students have been unexcused 3 times. So Ms. Lloyd sends a report just like she does tardies, send a report to the administration, and then we call and have meetings. So that's one way we're trying to fix this. There is a change with this in this year's CCRPI, so when I go to changes, I'll tell you what it is. And this is why we put this as a school improvement. For the past 3 years, over 420 students have missed 6 or more days, okay? Now you remember it used to be 10, and when it used to be 10, we used to always get 9 points, because our kids do come to school. When you dropped it, then they dropped it to 6, that cut it in half. We went from making 9 points to about 4.7 points. So it kind of cut it in half. Because, I mean, the state doesn't recognize excused and unexcused. An absence is an absence. They don't recognize whether it's excused or unexcused. So therefore, we have to figure out ways to combat that. So that's why that's one of our goals. All right, next one.
Dr. Ray, we do not have attendance recovery.
Right. We do not have attendance recovery anymore, or attendance appeal, thank you. Attendance recovery, attendance appeal. That's one of the reasons why we're doing it as we're going. Because when you talk about attendance recovery and attendance repeal, it's kind of like an autopsy. The death has already happened. All we're trying to do is recover some stuff. So we're trying to get it before it happens. Thank you. For our stakeholder involvement, we do a good job of that. We'll continue. For those you don't know, we have different clubs going out to the nursing homes. We do business of the month, and we do different things with the businesses. I'm a big fan of shopping at home. So all of our supplies and everything, we try to buy locally. We have an office supply company right downtown, so that's where I go first. And then after that, if they can't supply, then we go to other people. It doesn't matter, it doesn't, I'm not, I wasn't born here. I know sometimes there's a rift between public and private and all that. Everybody pays taxes. We benefit from those taxes. We saturate this community with letters and fundraisers and things like that. We just give back. So my thing is we shop at home first, and then if they can't supply it, then we'll go outside. Because Quill, that's a supply company, we don't know what they do. They don't do anything for us. They don't do nothing for us, and we don't know where they send their kids. We don't know anything about it. So that's my philosophy. As long as I'm here, we'll do home first, and then we'll go outside after that. All right? Next one. All right. Write 4 times a year, usually multi-text, level 4, depth of knowledge, and well, we all know why this should be, we need to fix that. But you look at our writing scores, and that's what suggests why we have to do that. Okay? So when you talk about extended writing, and these are parts, these are components of the score that we get, not from CCRPI, but that's the EOC. The milestone data. This is the milestone data. And as you can see, where our kids are 2s, 3s, and 4s, and you see how low these percentages are. This is why we write. This is why we ask y'all to write. This is why we write across the curriculum, because of these percentages are so low. And you learn by doing. So hopefully the more they write, and with the in our English departments, with them focusing on that, and then getting help from across the curriculum, hopefully that will raise these scores. So that's why we ask you to write. It's not to put something else, but this is why we ask you to write.
And our scores did get better. We took a little bit of a hit in 9th grade, but with 11th grade, you can see, and 9th grade here on extended writing and narrative, we doubled. Like you can see here, like the amount, we want the higher number. And here we have 14% in 9th grade and went to 17, and then we had 20% in 11th, and we doubled, we went to 40, which was like really high compared to state. And then in our narrative writing also, we had 5 and we went to 12. So we more than doubled there. So we are getting better.
Thank you. It's 16 and 17, so you can't compare the two. So you can see what we're doing is working. You guys, and thank you all for writing across, because you see it is making a difference. So that's why we do that. That's why we do it. All right, talking about discipline referrals. We have all those steps. We have all those steps in place. I'm constantly monitoring our discipline each month. I do a report, and I look at discipline, and with our 1 hours and our engagements and things like that we have in that progressive model. That's why we do that, because we want to reduce our discipline referrals 3% each year, and this is why we do it. Okay, because we look at our referrals and our number of referrals. Now I take in referrals that feed in from the alternative school, feeds into my data, just like attendance, because they're not a separate school, they're just a part of our school. So when you see, one of the things I thought of after 10 years, as far as OSS and affecting the climate survey, so now instead of suspending students and sending them home, I just send them across the street for those days. And that way they can keep working, they're out of the building, so we still suspend them, but instead of at home, we just send them over there. After their 3, 5, 10 days or whatever, they come back. So little things like that to try to help us reach our goal as far as because of